Well, good morning and welcome to the Good Builder podcast. Today, I've got a really special pod, and I think all of you builders, trades, anyone in our community should really listen to this one because it's a total game changer. Now, have you ever wanted to tell a client that you could build the home before you really did any work? Is that the problem that you guys have out there? Well, that's exactly what this guest has made possible. And chatting to him before we started this pod, I'm even more excited because he's a lovely gentleman and he has a fascinating story. So, this guy is a computer scientist. He's worked for PwC and IBM. He went and did development and building, and then he's gone full circle and created something that I reckon a lot of you guys have heard about. And if you're not on it, jump on it. It's something called Canibuild. And I am welcoming to the podcast the absolute legend, Tim, who is the founder and CEO. How are you, mate?
Not too bad, Aaron. Thanks for that intro. I'll try to live up to the hype. But yeah, no, look, really appreciate it. And like I said before, really appreciate you doing podcasts like this and putting a spotlight on people within the construction industry, whether it's tech guys like myself trying to help out or other builders. It's really good to be on the show and really look forward to sharing a bit about my story and what Can I Build's doing and how we're helping builders and talking through all of that. So again, mate, really appreciate to be on the show. And like I said, we've recently moved out to New York, where I'm sort of jumping on now.
Yeah,
It's only 7 p.m. here, but it's election day in New York where I reside. But yeah, really looking forward to this chat and wouldn't miss it. So thanks
yeah.
again, and thanks for having
No,
me on.
it's a pleasure, Tim. And honestly, you're a fascinating guy. You've come from Australia, Western Sydney, both Western Sydney boys, which I absolutely love. And you've created this amazing platform, and then you're bringing it over. It's worldwide now, Aussie made, worldwide, from someone who is a builder as well. And as I said, you've got all that other experience. But tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into the whole program. Tell us a little bit about Tim and where it all started and your fascination with this stuff.
Yeah, so look, I've always had ever since being little. I always had a fascination in building things. I always imagined I'm either going to be an engineer or a builder in construction. But and along that way, I got my Commodore 64, which is already showing my age, and I started going into IT. I really loved those two aspects.
Yeah.
And basically, fast forward, I did my computing science degree, finished that thinking I'm going to do the most construction tech company on earth. So that was the idea. But then I went into my first job in PwC and IBM, but then very quickly after that, I was starting to do my own developments, my own construction. So
Wow.
I was doing developments in Canberra. I've done a lot of jobs in Gungahlin, a lot of townhouses and terraces down there. And that sort of one thing led to the other. And I was seeing how, I'm not going to say antiquated, but how tough construction is from a sales perspective.
Yeah.
It's really tough because the questions are presumably easy. Can I build this house on this parcel of land or this block of land? But the answer is not that simple. And basically, that was the crucible for me starting to get back to my roots of IT and saying, hey, there really has to be a better way to sort of help ourselves and the industry in terms of answering that question. And that's turned into Can I Build? And like you said, a few years of that, we've cover Australia, New Zealand, the
Yeah.
US, and Canada, and have over 8,000 users. It's been a pretty fun run, and it feels like 2 years, but unfortunately, it's been quite a few more years than that. Time flies when you're having fun, but
That's
no,
cool.
it's been a really good run.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Tim, and I did say it before this podcast. When I was at GJ Gardner and you guys started Can I Build, we were one of the first that adopted that technology and it changed the game. We didn't just grow $700 million in a year just because of, in 12 months because we didn't change anything. There was a few things that we changed. And I have spoken before on this podcast about the technology we introduced, and Can I Build was definitely one of them. We were able to get to site quicker, pull customers out of the market quicker. That was one of my strategies. It was like I knew builders, Tim, kind of, they open up. We did this study once, which was pretty cool, man. And we had like 50 people in a room in Brisbane, I remember. And we had this research company and they were all in the market for looking for a home builder. And we said, go and do it. How do you do it? and they all of them opened up about 10 to 12 tabs. I think 12 was the average. And so they considered 12. And then we tracked them as they went through the process and who they went to build with. And it was whoever kind of pulled them out of the market quick enough, gave them that transparency, gave them that information that they needed. And that's where Can I Build popped up. And I've got another story. And sorry, Tim, it is your podcast, not mine. But mate, the Can I Build story the other one that I've got is I've spoken about it a few times on this podcast, but I started a building company because I'm a frustrated builder. Well, I partnered with a builder. I always wanted to be a builder like you, but a bit more not too hands on. So I partnered with a gentleman named Daryl Meehan, who was the GM of Clarendon Homes, and we opened up Avondale Homes. Now, we were going through these problems with customers and we're trying to build these massive acreage homes and where you put the service lines and water and how far it has to be set back and where we're going to put things because they're big blocks of land. And again, in my head, I was like, Can I Build? We put Can I Build on, mate, and we were just pulling people out of the market and giving them that clarity. So for you, mate, I'm sorry that I kind of told my
No,
story.
I'll send you the check in the mail, mate. Like a
It's for real.
brilliant.
I'm not saying, this is why we wanted you on the podcast too, Tim. For real, mate. What you've done is phenomenal. But for you, was there a particular moment in your career where you kind of went, I know you sort of talked broadly about it, where you went, oh, there's a better way to do this.
There was, because basically I just realized, because instinctively you would think the biggest issues in construction is punch lists or defects or
Yeah.
weather, but that doesn't really keep the builder up at night. It's more the disconnect between, say, client and their expectations, or that initial friction and frustration of knowing what's possible. Can I build this or can't I? How big can it be? What's the site conditions going to be like? And the reality is, for a builder to find that out, you have to get architects, you have to get surveyors, you have to get engineers, which costs money. And then you're trying to get that money from the client to be able to lead them down this path of understanding. But it's high friction. So when I ran the construction company in the granny flat space, we had that same issue, and it
Wow.
was costly. It was a costly exercise. You had to go to site, meet with clients, go through try to educate them
Yeah.
with a limited amount of information. So at that point, it was really clear, and where I was basically that light bulb moment where you said, but surely there's a better way. Surely we can sort of
Yeah.
bring forward some of those site dynamics, what's happening on the site, what's the issues on the site, what's the rules and regulations, what's the setbacks. And at the time, granny flats just came into play. So, is it CDC compliance or DA, etc. And basically, this started the initial thought process of, can I
Wow.
build? And surely we can put this into a package where it's simple for a builder to use, which I knew from day one. If there was more than three buttons, so it'll be three buttons too many for the construction industry. So I had to be, put your address in, check what are you thinking of building, place it on site, and instantly get that answer of, can I build this, yes or no? And I think that's what started the whole idea, having a true understanding of on the ground experience. I mean, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of tech is coming out of the valley in California and saying, if only builders did this, this, and this, the world would be a better place. And I always feel
Yeah.
like saying, walk a mile in their shoes. And builders are
Yeah.
smart. They know what has to happen, but sometimes they just don't have the tools to be able to do it, or it's
Love it.
too expensive or too complicated. And I think this is the niche that Cano Build was able to settle in, and our focus is on residential builders, and I think it's worked out well for us. So that's the light bulb moment, and
Wow.
we haven't looked back.
No, you certainly haven't. And I completely agree with you, Tim. I completely agree with you. When I was involved in the building company, it wasn't, is it going to rain tomorrow? Is the roofing going to get there? It was customer calls and complaints.
Yeah.
I won't lie.
Yep.
Our Google star rating wasn't great over the COVID period and phones were blowing up. That was the stuff. And then also the customers who wanted to build and not be able to give them an answer. That's what we hear a lot from our community. And as you said, the expectation, are we actually going to be able to do this? Can you build it? Mate, very cool. I love the practicality of where you've come from in making this is just, it's just so logical, so amazing. But, for those out there that kind of don't know the platform, eh, could I ask you for a Shark Tank elevator pitch, if you don't mind?
I'll do my best, and we'll
You
see if
should
you
go on
invest
Shark
at the
Tank,
end of
by
it.
the way. You should go on Shark Tank, by the not that you might not need any investors, and you probably don't want to give anyone any piece of this platform because I wouldn't if I were you. But mate, they would love it. I'll tell you. I watch it a bit, and then I always do think of you. And can I build and go like, can someone do something that's pretty cool like this?
Yeah, no, for sure, and I'll do my best in doing the elevator pitch.
Yeah,
So
go for it.
so basically, from a platform perspective, what Can I Build is, it's in the name. So Can I Build? We basically try to answer that presumably simple question: Can I build this house on this block of land, or this granny flat, or this swimming pool, or this garage or shed? And we try to provide an instant yes or no answer. So basically, we try automatic compliance, we do automatic visualization. So if you had to picture it, it's a platform where you can put your address in, see the site on a map in a visual perspective. You're able to drag and drop your build on it, instantly see front, side, rear setbacks, site coverage. You'll be able to see topography lines and contours to see what the site dynamic is. And you haven't left your office to go to site. And you're already on a Zoom call or a phone call with the client saying, I can see your block of land, or the one that you're thinking of buying, or the one that your mother-in-law lives in because you want to put her in a granny flat, or whatever might be the case. And you're able to start answering those questions
Yeah,
pretty quickly and save yourself a trip and save yourself the back and forth. And I think everyone wins, the builder and the client. So
they
that's
do.
Can I Build it in a nutshell? Maybe a bit longer than a elevator pitch, but
No,
that's the one I've got.
it was so cool, Tim. And you know the other thing that I found with Can I Build when we actually used it with clients was it was quite funny, even though it wasn't our platform, and we never said it was ours. It's your platform, Tim. But they would think we are. Uh, they trusted us. They felt we invested in technology. Like, because we used to sit down and we used to have Avondale clients come in and we'd go, okay, here's your design, here's your block, here's how it's going to sit, here's the perspective, that sort of thing. And they'd be looking at it and just blowing, like, it'd just blow their mind that they could see their block with their house, how it's going to be situated and positioned, where the pool's going to go, and just see that whole thing come to life, as well as give them the answers. That was one of the other things, mate, that you probably hear all the time, but just wanted to give you some feedback on that.
No, and I think you hit the nail on the head there, because basically, unfortunately, construction doesn't have a good rap. So
Yeah.
potential clients out there are basically just looking for a builder they can trust. So if a builder comes and says something along the lines of, let me get back to you, let me circle back next week, let me get back to the office with those answers, in the client's eyes, they're thinking, but don't you do this all the time? And like I said
Yes.
before, the answers aren't easy. The builder has to look up the DCP, look up the rules. I can't remember what the setback was. Let me check. Let me ask the architect. Let me get back to you. So they're looking for someone they can trust. So unfortunately, sometimes they trust the laptop. So when you put the address and you show them the reasons why it's going to cost more, the reasons why it needs to be smaller, or that design doesn't fit, it's a building of trust. And when the next builder comes along and they're scribbling something on a piece of paper in contrast, they'll say, let's just choose that other builder, whether it's GJ Gardner or Avalon
Yeah.
or whoever it might be, because it sort of helps them appreciate this company's investing in technology. They're trying to answer the question genuinely. They're trying to be transparent, and they're not saying, hey, pay me $2,000 for us to get an architect to then tell you this build is going to cost double what your budget is.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think that's one of the main value adds for using the platform. You can basically just answer more questions quicker.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is, Tim. It was phenomenal for us. I remember I said to you before the pod, it was an absolute game changer. And in terms of other builders using it, I just don't know why. And it's precisely what you said. It's funny, the building game, as you say, you know, in a client's eyes, they're thinking you do this all the time. They think it's McDonald's. They think it's cookie cutter,
Yeah.
but every block of land's different.
Every house is the same. Surely you know. Why
Yeah,
can't you just tell me now? How much is this going to cost? And you're like, and you're scared to give an answer because you're saying, I don't know if it's on the side of a cliff, or there's going to be a sewer encasement, or there's going to be these kind of issues. There's so many things that can go wrong and will go wrong on any job site, that the more
yeah,
information you can have at the upfront, the more better armed that client is to make an informed decision. And And I would like to say, because we've mentioned GJ a few times, they were our
Yeah.
first major client, and I'll definitely give them a plug because we appreciate everything they've done. And they're a company like many other construction companies that are investing in tech for that exact same reason, to be able to just answer those client questions at the start. Because if you get it right at the start, it'll make it easier throughout. The last thing you want to do is get that call halfway through and say, but the sales guy told me, and you know that the rest of that sentence is going to be horror.
Yeah.
The better armed that salesperson is at the start, then everyone's on the same page and less friction and more builds and an easier sales process and an easier build because there's no surprises. They
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
that how it's going to visually look. They don't have to wait for the architect.
You're
I think it's a
completely
win-win,
yeah.
and and in Australia, out of the top 100 in the HIA list, about 90% of those use the platform. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of stories like GJ amongst our clients that are using the platform, and I think it's now become the norm. Like I think
Yeah.
even clients now are expecting to be able to get those answers. And
Yeah.
we're in that kind of instant society, right? Like when you're on Amazon.com and you order something and you see 4 days, you're like, 4 days? I
Yeah.
want this now. I want it delivered tomorrow. So and builders are no different, whether it's Uber Eats or anything. Everyone wants it now. And
You're completely
if we
correct.
can't do it, it
Yeah.
becomes tough.
I think I just paid $20 extra for a bottle of vitamins because I could get it a week earlier. Like, and what if I didn't
100%.
have the vitamins? I wouldn't die. I just wanted it, a
Yep.
week earlier from Amazon. You're completely correct. And
No one wants to wait anymore.
yeah, you are completely correct, Tim. That's really interesting, mate. Well, you kind of touched a bit on the results on the ground, and I know there's a few aspects to Can I Build, isn't there, too, Tim? Like it can help with, harnessing leads and things like that. So, where do you see out of your thousands and thousands of builders and clients, where do you see the main benefit for them? I know the Can I Build bit does it, but is there any other sort of features and benefits that you constantly get feedback on?
Yeah, 100%. So basically, there's two main moving parts for Canibuild. There's Canibuild Site Check, which is the platform that you're most familiar with, which allows builders to be able to go to a particular site and get everything they need to know. They can do a quote, they can do automatic estimating, they can do the compliance check, and
Yeah,
all things like that. And then the second software that we have is called Lead Converter, which can be embedded on your website and allows anyone to the general public to go to a builder's website, put in their address and start self-serving. So without even bothering the builder with some questions, they're already able to cycle through those designs, place it. And we find the conversion incredibly high because you can imagine telling the general public, hey, if you're at the start of your sort of building a new home journey, you can go to a website, a builder that's using our platform, put your own address, and go through all the designs. You can spend the whole weekend. You don't have to sort of confine it to what the sales guy wants to sort of show you. And
yeah.
that's the lead converter part. And so basically we've got the public, which is for leads, and then we've got SiteCheck to be able to provide those answers. And those combinations really, really strong for us. So those are the
That's
two
amazing.
main aspects.
That's amazing, Tim. Mark, in our previous podcast that we'd done, Mark Deacon, who's part of Can I Build, you guys out there might be familiar, legend of a bloke too, and very intelligent. He was telling me about that lead converter bit, and I unfortunately had sold out of the building company before I'd known about this. Otherwise, it was straight on the site, mate. You know, excuse me, but to have a client being able to put their design on their block of land and self-serve and have that curiosity and a bit of fun, I think is part of the experience. And I
And
think, yeah, it'd
100%.
be so cool.
Like for sure, and the reality is builders have a tendency to get battle hardened. So we forget the excitement that someone's building a new home. They want to spend time looking through all designs. Whereas, can you imagine if the sales guy turns up to a
Yeah,
client and the client goes, "Oh, can you talk about these 10 designs? Can
yeah.
we just restrict it to one or two and things like that?" So they can spend all weekend. They can show their family and friends and start citing what fits,
I
what looks better.
love it.
And then when that lead comes through, you can imagine the builder will be able to it's a more sales qualified lead. So effectively that platform acts as a 24/7 salesperson on the website, prepared
Yeah.
to answer any question at any time. So it's been really, really successful for us. And just a really quick point on that, and I'll give you a um, uh, sort of preview. We've partnered with the Builders Alliance in California because in California there was the Palisade and Eaton fires that burnt over
Yes.
15,000 properties
Yeah.
um, earlier this year. And we've partnered with the Builders Alliance, which includes companies like Richmond America, Brookfield Properties, Arca, local builders. And they're going to be launching that portal, which means using our technology, but anyone in those affected communities that lost their home can now put their address and see all the designs, all the costs. And I think we're doing a really, like that alliance and through our technology is going to be doing a pretty amazing job because it's going to give so many people real optionality as opposed to just hopes and prayers. There's going to be a lot of ability. So that platform's going really, really well, and it's good to have those kind of stories to say that, and that's close to our heart. The whole company is because
Yeah.
since there was fires in Australia, we're affected by bushfires all the time, and we know
Yeah.
what it's like to lose a home. And so it's really good to be part of that initiative. We're working closely with the county and the city and the Builders Alliance for that.
Bloody hell. Legend of an Aussie from Western Sydney out there doing stuff with the California
We
wildfire.
didn't do too bad for
We
two
did it
West. Is that?
well, yeah, yeah. You did a bit better, mate, but I'm proud of you. But I tell you what, no, and I'm super proud, man. Like, I know we've just met, but, like, you know what? Like, it nearly brought a tear to my eye when you said that stuff. I'm not just lying. We got family over in LA that went through the fires and like, I don't think no, you do, but what you are facilitating there, man, and at the scale you're able to facilitate it, have thousands of people online being able to check out getting their home back. Man, that's phenomenal.
And it is a massive, massive rebuild effort. So,
People don't understand, hey.
and if you see the aerial imagery, it genuinely, unfortunately, looks like a war zone. But
It was.
to me, what's exciting is yes, the technology is exciting, but also the fact that these major national builders have come together in one consortium,
Well
which
done.
in itself it shows that the real intent is to assist. They didn't go it
Yeah,
alone. They said, look, how do we group together to be
together.
able to pass on cost savings? How do we make this process a lot easier? And the fact they've chosen to use our technology is great because they wanted that public engagement. You know, in next 2 weeks or so, this platform will go live, and thousands of people throughout Los Angeles that's lost their homes in Altadena and Pacific Palisades or Malibu would be able to go on, pick a design, place it on their parcel land, see genuine cost, and that cost is real. And when they make that call to that builder, they know that that design is compliant on their parcel and a genuine option, and that's going to save a lot of people anxiety, etc. So I think that's a really, really big thing, and the fact that an Australian company is helping out over here in the US to
So
do that.
proud.
I think that's really, really good. And Australia has a lot to be proud of from a construction tech industry as a whole.
Thank you.
So I think, and yourself for highlighting these kind of stories. I mean it genuinely. I don't think
Yeah,
there
thank
is
you.
enough feel good stories in construction. And for you to sort of
Yeah.
put the spotlight on some of them, I think it's really, really good.
Thanks, Tim. And yeah, and that's what we love doing because, man, like what you're the same thing. I'm not just throwing comments back and forth with you or compliments back and forth with you, but like if I'm going to do a massive piece, I'm going to get the team to do a massive piece on that for you and in your team and do a big write up and stuff. Because if we're not talking about this, we're talking about we're not meeting the housing accord. We don't have enough trade. We don't do this. Hey, there's an Aussie over in LA who's saving the county, and he's providing this, and your team, I know you're very humble. It's not just you, but you're out there doing this stuff. Like, let's put the spotlight on that. That is a phenomenal story, mate. Mark actually, he touched on it, but he didn't tell me the full story. So Tim, man, God, that's amazing.
Yeah. And I think Australia's got a lot to be proud of for the construction industry and what led even my journey to sort of get to this point. And you touch on our team. My team makes me look good. Basically, we've got a really, really strong team from our engineers to our customer success and everyone that's involved. We understand how tough the construction industry is, so we don't hide behind the monitor. We don't just send an
Yeah,
email and say, hey, just check this help guide that'll help you. We sort of reach out. I love to meet as many people as I can in person, and I think to have that opportunity to help out in Los Angeles And the fact it's an Australian-based company coming over here and doing what we're doing, I think, so it's a really good story, and I think, it should resonate. And if we're able to do this in LA, we'll be able to do it in Australia to help people that's lost their homes in the next bushfire that's inevitably going to come. And if technology can get people in houses quicker, then I think that's something worth talking about and highlighting. And whether it's the Australian government, and mind you, the New South Wales government has done a lot to support us. We just finished a going live sort of export program from New South Wales government to help foster startups and companies like us get roots in the US. So the fact that these stories should be highlighted, I think it's good for all, and it's a good story for both LA, Australia, the construction industry, even governments. They're all coming
Yeah,
together to actually do something really, really good. So I
and it's rarely
think it's a
talked
feel good
about.
story.
Yeah, and it's rarely talked. You're involved. So sorry, what was that with the New South Wales government, Tim? Sorry, mate. What were you doing?
Yeah,
I haven't heard about this either. Like, let's have a quick chat about it.
Yeah, no, look, that was a really, really good program, and I encourage anyone that's watching this podcast to sort of look it up. So the New South Wales government tries to sort of, I think it's every year, and get startups that are Australian based that are looking to export their services to the US, and
Yeah,
they've got a program where they come out, they do a whole sort of program that lasted about a week. Where in this case it was based in New York. It leveraged the Cretech Expo. They introduced contacts, the American Australian Association, and basically we've been in the US for just over 3 years now. But if you're a small startup, it's an incredible program to be able to sort of assist and start getting into the US market and start answering these questions. And the New South Wales government is doing genuinely a really good job. I'm not just saying that so I
yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
get doors opening for myself. I was really, really surprised at how well run it was, the
Wow.
contacts that I was able to make, and they introduce you to potential investors to help
Wow.
some of
Yeah.
these startups to be able to get in the door and get the understanding, um, open up doors in government in the US as well. So it
Wow.
was a really, really good program. And I think like there's so many good stories. That's why I keep on harping on that this
Yeah.
show is so amazing. I don't think anyone hears about it. They just hear that, affordability crisis, we're not doing enough, it's all terrible, builders are doing a terrible job, and there's negative, yes, but we need a counterbalance with a
We
few
do.
positive stories.
Yeah. I'm with you,
We
Tim.
need to.
I know, and like you said, and I think that's part of, you said earlier in the podcast when we talked about the customer experience and trust, which is super important, but you said, and I love the way you said it, you said builders are battle hardened, and they are, man. Like, they really are, and it's kind of like, I think if we keep getting negativity thrown at us as an industry, we're gonna get more battle hardened, and then, like you said, you become less excited. Precisely, I'm not stealing your words, but less excited for when clients build their homes and that
Yeah.
emotional
And you just moved
you're just moving through
100%
project
like,
to project, and it becomes not a passion anymore. You're not proud of what you do, and this is what I want, Tim. Like, man, when I was part of Avondale Homes, I don't want to just talk about it, but I remember the first home I walked into that we built, and again, I'm an emotional guy, and I reckon I nearly cried again. And I was just like, "We did this for this client," and like all the other trades were like, "What's wrong with this guy?" And I'm showing the guys around, I'm showing the people around the house, going, "Oh man, how cool is this?" And I'm like, "This is the first time." And I went and filmed them, and I'm like, I just became part of this brand, and this is my background. I told them all about myself. No, they really, I think they cared. They cared more about their house, but I was as excited as them. But I love you, Daryl, and I know you listen. But Daryl was just like, "Here's a house. Here's your keys.
yeah.
Here's your manual. Hey,
And
here's your kennel."
unfortunately, it's a result of being battle hardened. Like the
Yeah,
reality is, a lot of builders would treat a good job as a job where they just handed the keys and there was no issues. If
yeah,
the client
yeah,
complained, no, great, that's a good job. Let's move to the next one.
yeah.
And the reason is you're under attack from everyone. The
That's
reality,
right.
you're under attack from, if you're in an infill project, the neighbors complaining that your excavator is making noise, etc. You're you're potentially getting fines because you dirtied the road, or it's a lot can go wrong. And the other reality is it's a high risk venture.
Yeah,
Builders have to put a lot of money into this. So there's pressure in terms of your livelihood at stake. And the reality is, I think everyone's got a perception that builders are floating on a yacht somewhere making
yeah,
millions of dollars. The reality is most are on the machines and the tools themselves,
Yeah.
or they're at the office trying to make the books balance.
Mm.
And there's a lot of pressure. So that's why I feel very strong, especially with mental health. I think construction is number one in mental health issues,
Yes.
and it needs in the industry needs a bit of balance. There needs to be these good feel good stories, and I think that's what you're doing. So that's why I'm
Yeah.
appreciate to be on the show.
Thanks again, Tim.
No worries.
Mate, that's yeah, it's so cool. Well, in terms of like the platform again itself, and I've seen it
Yep.
myself, but for those who don't know how long it takes to actually get answers, how long can you get an answer for site, for example, not the lead stuff, but for the
Yep.
site checker? How long does it take to
It's
situate a home and to get your answers, Tim?
it's genuinely instant. It's as quick as you can put the address in. As soon as you put in an address, you'll immediately get the parcel, so you know the width of the block, the depth of the block, the topography of the site, without the need of a surveyor. In under a minute, you'll be able to cite a plan, position it, see the setbacks, and generate a proposal, which can include a quote, the site plan, the flyer, and you're handing it to a client and saying, "Is this what you're after? And did you want to move to the next step?" That's as simple as it is. The alternative, you can book a time next week, see the client on site, kick the
Yeah,
dirt, scribble something on the grid paper, tell them you speak to the draftsman, get back to them next week. They'll say, "That's not what I said," because it'll be the first time they see it. Then you'll adjust it, then you'll reprice it, then you'll resend it. And 3, 4 weeks later, you might be in the same spot as you could have been 2 minutes in using Canibuild. So it's as
yeah.
simple as that. And I'm not exaggerating. And anyone interested can reach out to us. I'm not trying to overly plug us on this show, but
You're not at all, actually.
quick
I'm trying to
demo.
plug you. I think I'm trying to plug you
Yeah,
more,
no,
to be honest, because I've used it and I'm like, man, I asked you the question, but I knew how long it took because I did it myself. Like you said, the intuitive platform. I remember we used to, so Avondale Homes, the other business was Q Coast Homes, which was an investment builder, and we used to use their display home. But anyway, so Darryl was involved in that. I wasn't. And we used to sit in the display home and we used to have them come in and give us the address. And it was just like bing, bang, boom. And it was phenomenal.
and that's the beauty of it. And if it's more complicated than that, it's not going to work because the sales guy sometimes could be in a display home. Someone just walks in. If they
Yeah.
have to like, "Oh, just wait a second, sir, let me just set this up," it's just not going to work. It has to be as simple as, "But where are you
Yeah.
thinking of building? Here's the address." They'll get blown away that you've already got the information in front of you. And then you'll see it in the client's face. They're already engaged in terms of, "Oh, maybe this design. Can you move it to the left? Can you flip it around? Can you position
Yeah.
it? Why can't I move forward? Can you see
Yeah.
that line? That's just setback. That's the limitations that you have on this parcel of land."
That's the clarity.
Understood. Are we able to generate something here? Let me just generate a site plan and let's, see you into the office so we can show you the color selection room and go through the rest of the process. But basically, you've already engaged that client, and as far as they're concerned, they're already falling in love with their new home on the block of land that they're either just bought or thinking of buying at the auction or whatever might be the scenario.
Yeah.
And if Canabill had a hand in getting that from start to finish quicker, the builders can start actually making, heaven forbid, a little bit more money, because they're not under the pump in terms of doing all this free work, because it's free work.
It
When
is.
you email that builder and say, "Hey, I was thinking about this block of land that I'm about to buy," what the builder's actually thinking is, the chances are you're not going to buy it. I really don't have the time to spend to research. If I spend only 2 minutes, I might give you the false information and then I'll get sued because
Yeah.
you might buy that block of land and then we find out there's a sewer line that runs and you can't build the house you want or it's going to
Yeah.
cost $20,000 more. So then you just give some light-hearted answer and everyone's sort of worse for it. With Can I Build, you'll be able to give a proper answer and spend 5 minutes on it and move to the next one without
Yeah.
feeling like you're about to invest 2 hours of your time
And that was
hoping that this turns into a sale.
and that was it, Tim, for us. What we did, we sat down and we went, let's look at the time costs. For us to actually do this, it's going to take us a day or so, like to actually get it all right and get it thing. So we put the cost to that. And then we looked at the fee for Can I Build? And we're like, mate, it's about 10% of what we're actually going to pay across all these builds, or not even 1% of all the leads that come in. And we've got a site and we've
Yep.
got, if we were going to do it, not even one, I don't even know, but it was just like, it was negligible.
It's incomparable.
You can't even compare it. Yeah.
It comes down to about $5 or $10 per site that you're actually doing. If you think about that cost, it's nothing. It's genuinely nothing. And the reality is, when someone says, "Oh, look, I'm an expert. I can do it in pen and paper in an hour or 2 hours," I go, "It's not 2 hours." And they go, "It is 2 hours." I go, "Which 2 hours? Are you going to start now?" No, you're going to say, "I can't do it today. It'll be on Monday." So it's 3 days and 2 hours. It's
That's
not
it.
2 hours right now.
And
Whereas with
time is money.
Canibuild, if you ask me right now, I can just type it in and give you an answer and move on to the next thing. I don't have to book
Yeah,
something in. So time is money. And unfortunately, a lot of people sometimes don't value their time and they're
that's
working
right.
for free. And that's the worst thing a builder can do. When you start working for, put yourself a wage, and most builders won't be able to even make ends meet with the hours they're working. They may as well go work at the corner store, because
Yeah,
if they put the hours in and they actually divide it by what they're making, they're saying, "I'm on $5 an hour.
yeah,
I should change jobs."
yeah,
Because I know a lot of builders that work all day on site, come back to the office,
yep,
then start quoting,
yeah,
go to sleep, wake up 6 in the morning, go to site, repeat. That's tough going. So
it
if
is,
that can be reduced even a bit, I think $5-10 for a site search is pretty cheap and pretty cost effective.
mate. You again, completely right, Tim. Mate, one of the other things, this isn't a well, a lot of these haven't been prepared questions, but this one isn't at all. Just what I've noticed with you is since scaling the company, you've scaled it pretty crazy, mate. How have you stayed grounded? This is just a personal question, I think. I think I've loved my chat with you, man, and you just seem so like I said, I didn't know what I was gonna expect when I talked to you because this is our first chat, and I was like, tech genius, done all of this. He's over in the US, and I never thought you're going to be not a nice person or anything, but I'm like, you just seem so grounded. And the first thing in the podcast, you're like, I'm over here so I can talk to more builders. What kind of, in a great way, this is a good comment, please, Tim. Sorry about, I'm not being offensive, but what kind of legend of a founder CEO who has this massive company with thousands and thousands of customers, and I'm sure a lot of work going on, goes and talks to builders?
The answer's easy. I've been in construction my whole life, and I genuinely understand how tough it is.
Okay. That's
I
cool.
genuinely know. So for me, staying grounded is pretty easy, because when I speak to these builders, I don't see them as the next subscription. I genuinely don't. And I
Yeah.
talk like I talk here. I didn't come
No,
here to
I
say,
can
okay,
see it.
have I got my talking points to sort of try to guide your viewers to, hey, if the product actually helps builders genuinely, then everything falls into place. And all I have to do is talk and understand what the issues are, show how this can solve their problems. And I talk in terms of reality.
Yeah.
This will help you regain your weekends. Forget about the money you can generate in more sales and quicker sales.
That's
If it just saves you a couple of hours a week, that's a couple of hours with the kids, etc. So I stay grounded, because those conversations just turn into friendships. I've got a lot of friends that are builders in the US and Australia. And in the end of the day, it's been my sort of way of going forward. And I always joke, there's heaps of tech guys that start off conversations with, construction's the most IT antiquated industry ever. It doesn't invest enough, and they just blast the construction industry. And all I'm doing when I'm hearing that kind of talk is thinking, have you ever picked a shovel up yourself? Like, have you ever
yeah.
gone to a job site? These builders are not stupid. They
No.
wish they know the problems, but how do you expect the builder that's just working day in, day out to be able to say, okay, I'm going to invest in this IT, I'm going to do this, I'm going to, like, it's just not feasible. And
No.
unless the construction industry gets a bit of help from tech guys like me,
Yeah.
guys like yourself that's highlighting these stories, government that doesn't beat them over the head and say, okay, what can we do to support? Because in the end of the day, and I've said it before, the mental health issue in the construction industry can't be just ignored. And it's the end result of people just keep beating on the construction industry. And
Yeah.
when you know all of that and you've lived it, I think you can only be a little bit humble and a little bit grounded, because you just know that you're dealing with people's lives. And for me, it's a lot more than just tech, it's helping out people. And if I can do that, then that's a life well spent, and makes it more interesting. And if
Yeah.
I can succeed along the way and get a few more subs and all the rest of it, then great. Then we're all winners.
Well, mate, in my eyes, Tim, you deserve all the subs in the world. You're freaking.
Thanks.
I love your philosophy on life. I love everything that you just said. You know, you are everything the good builder stands for. That's what we were trying to do. You know, same thing. Just put the message out there. Freaking legend, man. I love what you do.
Appreciate it.
I've got another question for you now that I have a cool, even though you don't say you are, but you're a cool tech guru. Mate, what do you reckon the future of home sales looks like? You know, you noted earlier in the pod that you've got the lead converter, so they can self-serve.
Yeah.
What do you sort of see?
Yeah, like if we look in the crystal ball, I think we can't look past AI, and I think the construction industry is going to be revolutionized in more ways than the industry is sort of coming to grips with. So
Yeah,
that's from anywhere from being able to analyze plans, etc. So AI is going to have a much more prevailing impact on the construction industry from beginning to end. In Canibuild, we're investing heavily in AI.
well,
For the builders themselves, AI starts as simple as, and I know everyone already knows it, like ChatGPT, but it just
yeah,
starts using AI to your advantage. Don't just ignore it and say, oh, this is all hocus pocus, it's going to come and go. I always like to say, those builders, you've got a choice whether you're going to just thrive, survive, or demise. And it's all going to come down to
love it.
technology. So what I see in the future is a lot more companies are going to be doing much more quicker instant site assessments, hopefully with Canibuild, leveraging AI to be able to answer more and more complex questions instantly with detail.
Love it.
So that could be a compliance report. So I think we're going to see much more prevalence in AI from generation of images. You know, right now, hey, builders have to spend a fortune to get a 3D model, then
Yeah,
change facades, and it's so complicated, and no one wants to do it because it costs a couple of $1,000s. With generative design and AI, you'll be able to just generate, this is how your house is going to look. I want to see a different facade or a different kitchen bench top. All
yeah,
these things are going to come more and more, and companies that just at least appreciate technology is going to be ramping up faster and faster and faster. And that's going to be the key ingredient for your success. As long as you appreciate that, you'll start making the right decisions. And it's not about adopting technology X or Y or Canibuild. It's much more the appreciation that I think construction's arrived at a point that technology is as important as the hammer. It's just, it
yeah.
needs to be there front and center. So I think we'll see more of that going forward, and a lot more collaboration between governments and builders from a tech perspective. So,
You're right, man.
like the stuff we're doing with the city of LA County and city, we'll see more things like that. But it's
Yeah.
all going to be AI. And I know that's no surprise. Everyone's going to go, yeah, they're surprised that I was left the word AI for so late into the piece, but it's going to be that.
No,
It's going to be more of that.
yeah. You're completely right. And I'll put a tiny little disclaimer on it because I'm about to tell this story. If you are going to use AI, talk to people like Tim and, you know, legends like Mark Deacon and Can I Build? Go to a proper business. Mate, when I had Avondale Homes,
Thanks, mate.
you remember when Mid Journey came out? You know, Mid Journey,
Yeah.
the just
Yeah.
images like when it just came out. Like I'm
It
a
would
nerd,
have been rough.
mate. I'm a nerd at heart, right? Like I love tech, and I'm just kind of that guy. And anything that comes out, my wife's like Atlas by ChatGPT, the new browser's out. I'm all over it. And so anyway, when Mid Journey came out, I tried for like months, Tim, to get like I created my own renders for Avondale Homes. Little did I know, mate, because I'm not a qualified builder, they were unbuildable. So we had roofs that were.
I'm sure they looked they may have looked beautiful, but they would have cost $1 million extra just with all the facade elements.
You're completely correct. And I started putting Facebook lead ads out there, and we were ripping in like 700 leads a month because these things were amazing, mate. The
I'm
amount of
sure clients were
customers
like,
we
"For that
disappointed.
price."
So caveat, I totally 100% agree with everything that Tim just said. But my disclaimer is please talk to professionals if you're going to use AI and get someone to do it, like get them to, you know, if you're going to site, like we're talking about Can I Build? Do it with Can I Build? Don't try and create something and pull data from somewhere to do it yourself because you're going to kill it. You're going to kill yourself.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. I think a lot of companies think, okay, we can do this in house, we can
Yeah,
develop it.
I said
That's
heaps.
equivalent of me saying tomorrow I don't need a pool builder. I'll do
Yeah,
my own pool. Like
that's it.
if like, and this is from the same people that pay someone to cut their grass. I go, come on, like, are you going to start doing your own software? And like, it's a tough job. And I think a lot of people think, surely it can't be too hard. I'll get a
Yeah,
few people from Upworks, or I'll call someone. And, my uncle is pretty good in tech. I'll get him to do it. But the reality is it just, it's like everything in life. You'll get what you sort of pay for. And hopefully, similar to our chats about trust,
it
if
is.
through this session they can see you feel like you can trust me, and by extension, Can I Build as a brand, then just reach out to us and say, look, we're thinking of doing this, this, and this. And we used Midjourney for our renders and it didn't go according to plan. What did we do wrong? And I'll genuinely answer with, well, the
Good.
first amazing step is you gave it a shot and you got an understanding and you can see there's value, but let me show you what options there are, and let me show you how you can better visualize to your clients. And let's tick a few of those boxes and show you it won't cost that much. And let's get a few wins. And that's as simple as it is. And yeah, so
Great
I
piece
agree
of
with you.
advice, mate. No, great piece of advice. And I do see that a lot in the industry, actually, Tim, to be honest, on a serious note. Like, I see some builders investing in stuff, doing things, and then we get approached like,
Reinventing the wheel.
yeah,
Like
yours is very
reinventing
different.
the wheel.
The amount
It's
of
like developing your own CRM. Why would you do that? Just get HubSpot or Pipedrive, or like, why would you
maintenance fees
do your
behind
own
it
work?
alone, and like to keep it actually going is going to cripple you, if you're not
Yeah,
focused in that
and
place.
you're not a software house. You're a
No.
builder. Put all your focus on building the
Yeah.
most amazing structures, whether it's a house or a granny flat or a pool or a shed. Focus on that. Don't
That's it.
focus on trying to figure out how to develop a CRM or develop this or develop that. It's all been done, and
Yeah.
try to get a software house or a software provider like us that are within the industry, not
Yeah.
understand it, and have a proper conversation and try to kick some goals. That's my genuine view. Everything else, I've seen a lot of clients. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got 8,000 users on the system. Like, it's tough for me to hear, oh, I'll give it a shot myself. Good
Yeah.
luck. Good luck.
You know how
That's
tough
like
it is.
telling my GP I'll do open heart surgery myself. I don't think I need you guys.
No, to be honest with you too, and then I've had a lot of people, a lot of builders approach me at Good Builder about software they're developing estimating software and all of this
Yeah.
stuff, and they want to use
Estimating's the number one.
it is, isn't it?
Everyone
And
has an estimating software that they think they've cracked the nut and it's perfect.
yeah, and they all want to, and it's interesting for me, and I'm not being rude to anyone out there if you listen to this and you have approached me, but some of them have said to me, "Oh yeah, can you promote it through the Good Builder because we got no money?" And I'm like, "Well, it's not going to last real long because seriously, software takes money, and I've had a look at your software and it actually isn't that good, and there's some other stuff off the shelf you can just grab." It's interesting for me now.
And the cost of, because I think a lot of people connect subscription to the cost. So for example, Netflix, it's only
Yeah,
$15. How much could it
yeah,
possibly cost to develop? It doesn't work that way. The easiest way for me to explain it is a software developer, 10,000 a month.
yeah.
5 developers is 50,000 a month.
It is.
It's 100,000 a year just for 5 developers. We've got 30. Do the math. If you're going to try to
Really?
beat,
You got
like,
30
doesn't
to,
make sense. And then,
yeah,
yeah, between our engineers and QAs and the rest of it. So it's it's a job. It's a
yeah,
business. So
yeah,
in the same way as if I went to GJ Gardner and go, hey, tomorrow I'm going to start a home building business and then compete against you,
yeah.
Trent and Conrad and the boys would just smile and go, good luck.
Bring it on. Let's go.
Because it's a big enterprise. You're going to find out it's going to cost money, marketing, establishment. You're going to have to get your trades, your connections, your suppliers. And 10 years from now, you will be a little bit higher, but
He's still around.
yeah, you're still around. But like, that's my view. So,
Yeah. No, that's really
100%.
important. And no, very, very cool, Tim. Well, mate, I've got one last question for you. But before I ask this question, I do want to say that I'm going to put links and everything below, guys, of where you can get onto Can I Build, who to talk to. I'll get all this information from Tim and the team there. And the first 5 builders that sign up, I'm happy. I'll do a free podcast with you guys, video it, give it to you guys. You can use it for your own assets. Come out, shoot a few homes for you, display homes. I'm really passionate about getting builders on this platform and how it's going to change you. So if I can
That's
incentivize
amazing.
5 builders to jump on, man, I'd love to, Tim, because and I'd love, and the podcast, the caveat is the podcast is going to be about you onboarding Can I Build, also about your business and how it's changed your business. I want some real life case studies around this because I've seen it with my own businesses and I guarantee it's going to be good for yours. So
That's amazing. And just, that's really, really amazing. And just to be clear to everyone, I just found out about this now. Listening to this is not
yeah,
some preconceived offer. That's an amazing offer.
no,
We're happy to contribute which way we can, and we'll
you
throw our
don't need
full
to,
weight to
mate.
make
You've
sure that
contributed with the software.
that's amazing.
No,
That's
I
really,
really
really
do, and
amazing.
I'll clip this out, Tim, and I'm gonna put it out to the masses. Mention the good builder. You don't get a discount, but you get your podcast and your video, your display home. And again, the podcast is on how how tech is changing your business. Like, let's do this, guys. Let's actually make this a real life case study. And I'd be happy to do 12 months time what your business looks like as well. So let's put it out there. I reckon I've got a few good builders, Tim, that'll do it with you already that I can reach out to because I'd love to track this difference in their business and just show it, man. Like that's what I want to do. I love these pods, but let's
Yeah.
show what it actually
And
does.
it'll be an amazing story
Oh,
from this
mate,
discussion to kicking it off and the onboarding
it's
and
gonna,
the highs and the lows, and I'm sure everyone's going
yeah.
to be
Let's
pretty
do it.
amazed. So that's a
Let's do it.
really, really good.
I'm happy
That's
to
really,
put
really
my money where
awesome.
my mouth is, man, because I know how good this platform is. So let's go 5 builders and
Appreciate it.
Walt Constructions, you're number 1, and also Craig Stewart, mate, you're number 2. You can do it with me. It's gonna be cool. My last question for you, actually,
Yeah.
Tim, and I'm a little bit infatuated by how you're going to answer this, man. We are called the good builder. What do you think makes a good builder?
Wow, that's a. I think I think it's trust, transparency, and honesty. I think that's what makes a good builder. A lot of people can swing a hammer. A lot of builders can build,
Yeah,
but I think for you to be a good builder, you need to have those core ingredients, or else it's all for nothing. I think if you do that, it's going to shine through your work. It's going to shine through your business. I think it's going to shine through the results. And if you hold true to that, even when times are tough, and stay truthful and honest and transparent, I think everything else would fall into place. So hopefully that's a half decent answer, and it's the answer I've got for you. I think it's a recipe for life generally that extends past builders, but it's definitely in this day and age. I think
mate,
builders need to hold true to that.
I'm not saying this because I'm now one of your fanboys, but that is very much how I think. Transparency, trust. If you can get definitely those things right, you're going to be better for it. And like you said, the whole
Yeah.
customer experience, the whole thing, it's just
And good people will be attracted to you. You'll attract other good builders, other good clients, and life will just pan out better for you personally and as a business. And I think that's the key ingredients. If your listeners stay true to that, I'm sure success will follow. And I
you
think
know
that's
what,
the
Tim, mate. I reckon you've done that. I can see it. I reckon you are. You're a very transparent. You can see how you generate trust in the whole platform. I've looked at the platform. As I said, I've used it. The way you've built it, I think the pillars of that platform are adding transparency and trust in the build experience. So from personally yourself, the culture that you drive, because I know Mark Deacon personally as well, and
Yep.
some team, and I know the team there. I think everything that you do revolves around that, mate. And I reckon that's why you're a success. You wouldn't be sitting in New York if you weren't, man. So I think that's
Yeah,
cool.
no, thanks, mate. And I'm glad I come across that way. And like you spoken to Mark. Mark's amazing, and the
Yeah,
whole team's amazing. And I think I have no time for someone that isn't sort of holding true to those values, because you'll start attracting the wrong people and things will start going wrong. So I know construction can be tough, guys, but keep listening to podcasts like this, which is positive. Keep smiling and
that's
stay
it.
positive, and it'll work out. Just keep on plugging away, and it'll happen. And if you reach out to us, we'll try to help you on the one.
Don't forget, first 5 that do. Stephen Vanderwelt, Craig Stewart. There's 3 other spaces left.
Yeah,
There might be 5. I'm going to have a chat with those blokes, but get in touch seriously with Can I Build? Free pods, free videos on me.
Yeah.
Once again,
I mentioned a good builder, guys, so I know,
mention the good
and
builder, yeah,
I'll
so you know, and please mention the good builder, but I'll probably, be on those emails as well there. But thank you so much, Tim, for
thanks,
your
mate.
time, mate. That was, as I said, I hadn't met you before this, and mate, you're a phenomenal bloke. What you've done is
Thank you.
amazing. You've helped my businesses in real life. You made me money. So thank you. But also you built trust within the businesses that we used your platform. But yeah, I just wanted to let our 30,000 plus builders know that out there's a platform like yours, and I reckon they should use it.
Fantastic. Appreciate the plug. Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, everyone that listened to this. And yeah, I'm sure this is the start of more chats going forward. Thanks,
I
mate.
reckon so. Thanks, mate.
Take it easy, buddy.